Welcome to this brief webinar on building literacy-rich environments in elementary summer learning programs. I'm Georgia Hall at the National Institute on Out-of-School Time at Wellesley College, and I'm joined by my colleague, Ashley Craig at Living Strong Consulting. This work is generously funded by the William Penn Foundation as part of their Building Literacy-Rich Environments work. Recently, we published the Afterschool Matters Journal focused on some of the projects of the William Penn Literacy Rich Environments work. And I wanted to point out this journal and how you can access it and the many articles that I think will be helpful to you as part of this work in summer learning programs. The journal was recently published, and it's available if you just search for Afterschool Matters Journal, and you'll find 4 particular papers, one called Playful Learning Landscapes, which talks about how literacy-rich environments connect to long-term academic outcomes, an article on museums and community-based organizations partnering to support family literacy, and an article on coaching for early literacy support, and that is training OST staff to meet the needs of diverse learners. Our particular project at NIOST also is captured in one of the papers in the journal called Coaching to Improve OST Literacy Programming. And we'll be talking a little bit more about some of the early findings from that project in a couple of slides. But suffice to say that what that project involved was coaches and trainers providing training on both continuous quality improvement and also on literacy-rich enrichment strategies and activities in after-school programs. I wanted to share this small piece of data that I think is important when we think about building literacy-rich environments for children and youth. According to the National Assessment of Education Progress, only 37% of American 4th graders in 2017 performed at or above the proficient level on standardized reading. Now, I know this is one small marker, but I think it's an important one, and it calls attention to the kind of supports that children and youth need to keep them on a pathway towards building literacy skills. I mentioned our paper in the Afterschool Matters Journal, and here's some early findings from our work that I think will be helpful in thinking about how can we create some of these opportunities in summer learning programs. One thing that we found was that when implementing these different literacy-rich skill building, that staff expanded their own knowledge of how to infuse literacy skill building into all of the program activities taking place, not just activities that specifically had to do with ELA. There was an increased amount of discussion of literacy skill building at staff meetings, and also staff felt more confident and intentional about delivering literacy activities. One of the things that staff reported was that there was more opportunity to link literacy skill building with a real-time application. So looking at directions and being able to read directions, being able to interpret signs and other types of speech-based or literacy-based things that happen in daily life. There certainly was also more attention that staff paid to children's choices in literature. So thinking about how children can become more engaged in reading when they have more of an opportunity to select the things that they might be interacting with and the kind of books and literature that they would be reading. So these were all early findings that we learned about as we interviewed staff who were doing this work in out-of-school time programs. There are literacy skills that we know are important for young children to build. And these include things like alphabet knowledge, phonological awareness, so an ability and an understanding of the sounds that make up words, being able to write names, phonological memory, so being able to remember speech patterns and be able to string those sounds together, the rapid automatic repeating of letters and digits, and the same thing with objects and colors. So these are all the kind of things that we're hoping and looking to help children build as they participate in summer learning and out-of-school time programs. So on this slide are some of the essential elements of effective early literacy instruction. So these are things that we can focus on and stay aware of as we're trying to build literacy skills within summer learning programs. Thinking about phonics and phonemic awareness, making sure that we're creating positive adult-child relationships so that we can be engaging in reading and writing and speaking opportunities with children and create that warm, friendly and engaging atmosphere, a print-rich environment where there are lots of books surrounding children, opportunities to write, writing materials available, and that writing is at eye level for children. So if things are posted on bulletin boards or on walls, that they actually are at eye level for children to be able to read. Reading and writing activities, infusing those in all of the kinds of activities that we might do, and then thinking about how we can vary teaching strategies and instructional strategies to make sure that we're meeting the needs of all the different learners and diverse children within our activity and our surrounding. Summer learning programs are well-suited settings for supporting literacy skill building. I want to turn it over to my colleague, Ashley Craig, who will take us through some real specific suggestions around this work.
So to connect to those essential literacy skills, we can easily take these, what I would like to call the big three of foundational literacy engagement. And those three elements are structured conversations, the book look, or what's otherwise known as independent reading, and the read aloud. I want to take a pause and step back to the structured conversation piece and really talk about for a moment how important conversation is. So we don't typically think of conversations as being literacy based, but they're foundational literacy skills that go back to studies that have been done that state that the more words that a child hears and engages in conversation, vocabulary building and scaffolding, that then they're able to be even better readers and set up to be more successful as a reader. So that's why having these conversation opportunities really allows for a literacy rich environment that you can do very easily in your program. So we're going to begin there. One resource that is one of my favorites is the Harvard Family Dinner Project. So don't let family dinner, that element take you away from the importance of the pieces that they have within their project that are awesome skill builders for early literacy and foundational skills. So I have linked for you and on the screen the resource directly related to conversations. And there are pages upon pages of these little cards. You could cut them out, you can have them on the computer, whatever's easiest for you in terms of going back to the resource. And you can choose a few for the day or choose, have the youth choose the card, and it can be done during snack time as the conversation starter. It can be used during transition or entering or exiting. So they are perfect opportunities to have structured conversation that is easily building that foundational literacy skill. The next piece is the book look. So book look, I love calling it a book look, especially for younger children, because they may not be on reading level. They may be under target for where they're expected to be for their age group or age range. So literacy doesn't end with being able to just read the words. If they have a picture book, they're able to look at the elements and engage with the text still and understand what's happening or create comprehension opportunities of what's happening just by even looking at the pictures of what is on the page. So key components for a book look is to make time, schedule it. Even scheduling it in the way of saying after snack, if you finish and you've washed your hands, or after this transition, if you've done X, then grab a book for the book look and go here and sit. So you're still building it in some type of way, or it can be something that everyone is doing at the exact same time, whatever works best for your program. Provide choice, and really providing choice is linked to the element of providing leveled books. Within the choice, you want to make sure they're also picking something that they can either use in terms of maybe they're below grade level with reading, but you have a plethora of picture books that they can use and be able to look at the pictures and create the story of what's happening and what's going on. Or if you have a group of students or kiddos and they are able to read, you want to make sure you have leveled books or books that they're able to read independently. Keyword independently, so that they don't reach that frustration level. You want to make sure that they enjoy reading, because that's what we want to do. We want to make literacy engaging and fun. And the last piece is just to check in with question posing. Even if they're not reading the word, you're asking, hey, what's happening in this story? Can you share with me what you think this character is feeling based on what their face looks like? That's a really easy way to bring in inferencing through conversation and question posing. So if you just go into these few little elements, few simple elements, when having a book look opportunity, it's a great piece for your foundational literacy in that area. The third element of the big three that I want to target is the read aloud. So the read aloud, there are 4 elements for this. So what I have found in working with programs is that sometimes for some, as the staff in the room, they may feel, or you even may feel like, oh, I don't want to read in front of them, or I'm not exactly sure how to do this, or where I would pause, or, somebody else should do this, not me. So there are key elements that you can do that really make it simple. So one way is to read a text that is predictable. So one that comes to mind, and you can look this up too if you like, is called Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. So it becomes like a rhythm and a pattern where the youth end up engaging and coming back and forth in terms of a chant, because they can predict what's coming or predict what's happening. Another book that I can think of off the top of my head that connects really well in that way is If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, and that entire series, because there's a predictability about it. Read the pictures. So even in opening up the book first, during the first take, you just look at the picture and say, what do you think is going to happen on this page? And that's something that's really simple, where you kind of turn it over to them to give you their thoughts. And even if you don't know what's happening in the book, you can say, oh, I don't know, let's check it out. Let's see together. And press the pause button. So what I mean by that is, as you're reading through the text, at different points, don't just go all the way through from beginning to the end. Press pause. Maybe you pick a page or you say, you know what do you think's happening on this page? Like I said before, what do you think this character is feeling right now? Why do you think they feel this way? If you're not as comfortable doing something like that on the fly or off the cuff, you can go ahead and use Post-its. Post-its are your friend. And you can put them in the book ahead of time where you want to stop and ask a question. And you also want to model making connections. So if you're reading a story about a character who's really worried or really frustrated, you may, when you press the pause button, you may say something like, there was a time when I was really upset too, or I was really worried as well. This is what I felt. Have you ever felt this way? So building those connections, the text to self connection is what we call that. And that becomes a comprehension strategy and skill that they're going to build on as they continue through school. So now that I have given you those 4 elements or those 4 points, I wanted to give you the opportunity to see someone do it and do it well, because having a visual of understanding what to do can, make it click together even more. So on the next slide, you're going to see a video. The video is a short snippet, about a minute long, a little over a minute, but it will give you a clear understanding of one way to do a read aloud.
The book we're reading today is The Vegetables We Eat.
Shakara Hilaire volunteers for the Reading Connection in Washington, D.C. Her assignment? Get these 3 girls excited about reading and vegetables.
Some see vegetables grow in pods. Sometimes the pods are eaten too.
Reading with enthusiasm is a great start. Nonfiction books with interesting facts and bright, vivid pictures help kids get excited about science and other subjects they'll learn about in school.
What kind of vegetables do you see here?
I see beans, peppers, tomatoes, and corn.
Turns out Shakara's got a good crowd. She encourages their participation, which is great for their comprehension skills.
Oh, I'm making a garden.
Look, don't you guys have a garden?
Yeah, it's right there. Even 2 over there. We got strawberries that's growing right now. We have pumpkins.
Stephanie Berman is the program manager at the Reading Connection.
They're asking the child questions about what they're encountering, the unfamiliar words, and helping the child relate the book to their everyday experience.
Even though this video is geared directly toward nonfiction texts, it gives you the opportunity to see how reading with enthusiasm, having that connection with making the connection to the text with the youth that you have is really the important and key components. So hopefully you find value in these resources that have been shared with you and they become opportunities that you can implement right away.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for all that sharing, some wonderful ideas, and I hope that there's lots of opportunities for folks to take advantage of the things that you shared in this short webinar. So here are some additional literacy resources that you can find. Of course, there's a ton out there, and hopefully these also could be helpful to you from the U.S. Department of Education, the National Writing Project, the Center on English Learning and Achievement, and the Center for Collaborative Classrooms. So I encourage you to take advantage of these different opportunities and information resources that are offered. We thank you so much for listening, and we wish you well in your summer learning programs and building literacy-rich environments for our children and youth. Thank you.